Hello, everybody. This is part two of our three-part series for parental mental health. Today, we are talking about managing stress and burnout. Before we begin, a quick introduction to myself. My name is Joelle, and I am a third-year occupational therapy doctoral student at the University of the Pacific. I'm in my last semester of school where we're focused on a capstone project. We work on this throughout the 3 years, and we get to choose and research a topic. From there, we can find a site and collaborate with them to start our project. So the site that I chose and that I found was Chat Center. Over the past few weeks, we've been collaborating to create parent-focused support series for families with children who are deaf and hard of hearing. The idea for this project is to design and strengthen parent well-being, connection, and access to support. I chose this topic because I did learn about deaf culture and community in school, and I found it really interesting. So when we were asked to pick a topic for our capstone project to research, I dug more into this area of research and found that I wanted to focus on supporting both children and their caregivers. So why focus on parental mental health? Well, we found through research that parents of children who are deaf and hard of hearing often experience unique challenges, including emotional and practical demands that require ongoing adjustment. When your child is diagnosed, there are many new things that you have to go through, and there are many feelings that you may feel. Most common include grief, shock, denial, anger. And then you are quickly asked to then make new decisions for your family, learn new medical terminology, learn about new devices your child may need, attend many appointments and services. And these ongoing demands can impact parental well-being. All the managing care, communication, and decision-making can contribute to increased stress levels and fatigue over time. However, research does show that support strengthens families. So when parents feel supported, they're better able to build strong relationships with their children. It has been shown that a positive parent-child relationship actually leads to greater outcomes in child's development, including in areas of behavioral, emotional, social, and cognitive development, including linguistics, which is a very important factor for children who are deaf and hard of hearing. Last session, we talked about the importance and benefit of social support and building connection. So you can go back and watch that video after this one, or you can pause this one and go back if you feel like that is something that you are interested in. In today's session, we are going to discuss stress and burnout in parenting, identify common signs and experiences. We're going to explore practical coping strategies, and then when we're in person, we are able to connect with other parents and share experiences. So first, what is stress? It is defined as a psychological and emotional response to internal or external threats and stressors that exceed a person's coping resource. There are different types of stress. The first one being acute stress, which is short-term, immediate, and high intensity. When I think of acute stress, I think of having to present a presentation or having a big meeting at work. Or in parenting, it could be the stress you feel when your child is throwing a tantrum in public. And this is different from chronic stress, which is long-term, ongoing stress that can lead to mental health challenges like anxiety, depression, and physical illness. Some signs and symptoms of stress include an increased heart rate and breathing rate, muscle tension, headaches, fatigue, and digestive issues. Emotionally, we can feel more irritable, have anxiety, social withdrawal, eating changes, or difficulties sleeping or concentrating. Now, when we talk about burnout, burnout can be a result of ongoing stress as it's a state of chronic physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion resulting from long-term unmanaged stress. These two terms are a little bit different, and the way I kind of differentiate them is that stress can feel like too much at times. So too much pressure or too many demands, physically or mentally, whereas burnout can feel like you are giving too little, like you have too little motivation or you're feeling empty or void of emotion. There are three different components of burnout. The first is emotional exhaustion, which is feeling fatigued or drained or having lack of energy to face the day. The second component is detachment or withdrawal, which is when you're feeling connected or withdrawing socially from others. It's also when you have a reduced patience or empathy. The third component is a reduced sense of accomplishment. This is when you're feeling ineffective or when you feel like nothing you do is enough. This is also where you can start doubting your parenting abilities. So, in person, we were able to have a guided discussion about these two questions. However, I just recommend that for you, you think about the two questions. You can even write down some notes about your thoughts. The first question is, what situations tend to cause you the most stress? And what signs of stress do you notice most in yourself? Go ahead and take a minute and pause the video and write those down, and then you can hit play when you're ready. So now that we've talked about stress and burnout, let's discuss some tools for managing stress. I want to note that stress is natural and unavoidable. The goal is not to never have stress ever again. I think that would be impossible, but rather the goal is to learn how to manage stress to a point where we aren't feeling constantly overwhelmed or burnt out. So we're going to explore some evidence-based support strategies for managing stress. Just take the ones that you feel like would be beneficial for you. It's not a one size fits all, and you know yourself best. So you can try different ones, and if you don't like them, you can try other ones. But these are just what the evidence states can be helpful. First, I'm going to discuss some grounding techniques. So these are simple strategies that help calm the body. These techniques can help regulate the nervous system and bring attention back to the present moment. The effects and benefits are that they reduce feelings of stress and anxiety, they slow the heart rate and breathing rate, they can improve emotional regulation and increase feelings of calm and control, and they can reduce physical tension in the body. The first grounding technique that I have today is box breathing. It's a simple breathing technique that helps calm the nervous system and reduce feelings of stress. You can see I included an image on the left side of the page. So what you would do is you would breathe in for 4 seconds, hold in your breath for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds before continuing. I did this before presenting in person, and I found that it was very grounding and allowed me to reduce my heart rate so that it wasn't beating so quickly. Science behind this is when you exhale longer than you inhale, which we're doing when we hold for the last 4 seconds, is that it's sending a signal to our nervous system that we are in a calm environment and to relax. So it helps promote relaxation and it slows down our breathing rate and heart rate. It also helps improve our focus and emotional regulation. The second grounding technique is progressive muscle relaxation, which involves tensing and relaxing different muscle groups throughout the body to reduce physical tension and stress. You can see the image on the left has the person lying down. However, you don't have to lie down to perform this. You can be sitting or standing. But what you want to do is start at your feet and you're going to go up your body and flex the large muscle groups. So I typically start at my calves. I tense that muscle group for about 5 seconds and then slowly release it. And then you want to notice the difference between tension and relaxation. And then I would continue up towards my quads and then continue to hold and then release. And you want to continue all the way up your body at each major muscle group. It really brings more body awareness and brings you back to the present moment. Also reduces physical tension and promotes relaxation and calmness. The last grounding technique that I wanted to include is the 5-4-3-2-1 method. This one uses your 5 senses to really bring you back to the present moment and reduce that stress and anxiety. So you do it by using 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And at our school, they have us practice by saying this out loud, but you don't have to. You can always just say it in your head. But it just really gets you in touch with your senses and then brings your focus back to yourself. So the benefits is that it helps reduce our racing thoughts and promotes mindfulness and focus and encourages a sense of calm and control. Next up are emotional regulation strategies. So the first one is journaling, which is writing down thoughts and feelings that can help process emotions, identify stressors, and increase self-awareness. I know for me, something that is difficult is just writing down my thoughts every day. So I thought that I would include this prompted journal, which is a daily journal prompt app that serves as a conversation starter for yourself. I feel like this makes it easier to start writing things down because you have a prompt. The same company makes another app called Three Good Things, which is where they have you list three good things throughout that day. And I feel like this is a really great way to practice gratitude with this journal app. The second strategy is just talking to others. Peer support is just super important. And we had our first session completely on that. But having trusted friends, family members, or support groups can provide emotional support, validation, and reduce feelings of isolation. At our session, we had an alumni member talk about how she had met people at Baby and Me and that they have still kept in touch and have become good friends where if one of them is struggling, they can text another about their advice and they feel like that is such a great way to have gone through this process and they feel like it's still beneficial where they are now. So I just encourage you to take advantage while you're at chat of all of the different events and things they put on. I know Baby and Me is open to all parents, even if your child is not a baby, you can still attend and get some peer support while learning stuff as well. Also, family events at chat are a great way to connect with other parents, also at drop off and pickup. We also have sensory soothing techniques, which are using calm sensory input to regulate emotions and promote relaxation. This can include listening to music or nature sounds, using weighted blankets or lap pads. We also include deep pressure input like a tight hug, a weighted vest, or compression clothing. Aromatherapy is also a great way to soothe with our senses. One of the big ways that we have found and that has been researched to help is reconnecting with meaningful activities. I've noticed that when stress and burnout is increased, parents find themselves putting their own interests, hobbies, and routines aside. But research does show that participation in meaningful occupations can support mental health, reduce those feelings of stress and burnout, increase feelings of competence and purpose, which is really important since before we learned that burnout can make you feel like you're inadequate or ineffective or not doing enough. They also strengthen personal identity outside of that caregiving role. So I know from research that some parents, when they step into that caregiving role, they are then only seeing themselves as a parent. However, each person has many different roles in their lives, and reconnecting yourself with meaningful activities will allow you to expand your perspective on your roles. Even 10 to 15 minutes spent doing something enjoyable or personally meaningful can support emotional well being and help replenish your energy. I also just want to remind parents that taking time for your own meaningful activities is not taking time away from your child. Like we've discussed, it's an investment in your own well being, which actually improves your capacity for taking care of others. Some meaningful activities might include spending time outdoors, exercising, listening to music, volunteering, socializing, or taking part in hobbies that you've enjoyed before becoming a parent. I often have difficulty finding a hobby that I would like to try if I am done with the ones that I have already tried before. So I thought I would include this free resource. It's called Hobby Stack, which is a 3-minute hobby finder quiz where they ask you about your lifestyle and available time and then match it to your hobbies of interests. If you don't like the hobby that you get on Hobby Stack, you can also go to Mind Body Green, which is just a big list of hobbies in different categories. So creative arts, outdoor activities, fitness, games, DIY projects, and more. So with our second guided discussion, go ahead and think about or jot down when things feel overwhelming, what is something you do that helps you get through it? And which of these strategies do you currently use or do you think could help you manage your stress in the future? For additional resources, I wanted to include mindful.org, which provides short articles and guided practice for stress and emotional regulation. They have articles on stress and parenting. They also focus on mindfulness, self-awareness, and coping with daily stress. They have mindfulness exercises that range from 1 to 10 minutes. Another resource is Greater Good Science Center, which is a research-based website from the University of California, Berkeley. It includes a collection of articles, practices, and expert opinions on positive practices for stress and emotional regulation. They really focus on well-being, stress, resilience, and compassion. They also have a Greater Good magazine and In Action and In Education. I personally like the Science Center because I know it's all backed in research. Another resource is the Self-Compassion Practices by Kristen Neff. She has free practice resources, which are a collection of exercises and meditation that focus on self-compassion. I really like that they have a caregiver-specific one that's in their free practice resources, and they're just soothing and grounding practices for stress. I wanted to also include some apps. So the Happify app, the Healthy Minds app, and the Calm app are all free and all have different purposes, but they are all for improving well-being and managing stress. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, my email is on the bottom. Our next session is going to be about resources and support navigation. So I hope you join us and watch that one. Thank you.